And furthermore, this is Sean, by the way, and furthermore, what text do we appeal to when somebody suggests that salvation is by works? If we are presupposing that nobody held that view in the first century, and therefore the texts that seem to be addressing it are not, because as per New Perspective on Paul says that wasn't anybody's view. I'm smoothing that out at the end. Okay. Thank you very much. Living with Eve. That's the name of the YouTube channel that did the interview with me. Thank you very much. Living with Eve. Okay. So, New Perspective on Paul. I'm going to go first, and then I will shoot this over to you. I've had this banner up the whole time. Okay. Here's the thing, is that Rob is going to be able to speak to specific passages, I think, a lot better than me in terms of phrases like works of the law. That is an entire study unto itself. And I'm going to let Rob describe his view and what I think has become a pretty strong view of the term works of the law. With that said, what I'm going to simply say here is this. I think that there is a little bit missed here in that becoming Jewish, quote unquote, which everyone knows I don't think you can actually become Jewish, but becoming Jewish requires what? It requires a work. It requires, according to the first century, the first century Jewish perspectives, it required a ritual of conversion, including the act of circumcision. Paul talks directly against this in Galatians 3, right? That Abraham was saved by faith before he did a work. And what was the work that he uses? He uses the work of circumcision as that benchmark, as the work that is being done. So I agree. It's not that there wasn't some idea of works save me. In other words, if you wanted to become a covenant member, what did you have to do? You, according to first century Judaisms, you had to do various works to be in covenant with God. And what Paul continues to tell us is, no, a person, whether Jew or Gentile, is not saved by bloodline. They're not saved by works. They're not saved by doing anything. They're saved by faith. They're saved by faith in Christ. That doesn't mean that a Jew is automatically in because of bloodline. I think that this is predominantly what is going on in Romans 9, 10, 11, and then in Galatians, right? That Jews are not just in covenant in terms of the new covenant because they are Jewish. And Gentiles do not get in by doing works. Rather, we are saved by faith alone. So I think that I think that there is a missed element here. The New Perspective on Paul doesn't say that there wasn't any works-based salvation teaching going on, but rather that there is a shift in understanding how Judaism dealt with works-based salvation. Rob?
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Hopefully my brain, which is a rabbit trail brain, by the way, if you don't know me already, 1,000 thoughts at once. Pick one. Back to the 70s. I think Paul and Palestinian Judaism by E.P. Sanders was like 1977.
Yep.
And this idea of the New Perspective on Paul emerged from that. And then you have revised New Perspective or the new Perspective. It's almost like translation, like the new NRSV or the NRSV 2020. Okay, so you look at it more rather than a clear definition of what, quote, the New Perspective on Paul is. Rather, look at it as a transformation of how primarily the academic world of Bible scholarship is retooling or remodeling what boots on the ground Judaisms looked like in Yeshua's day. Right. And the transformation is, on the one hand, would be like, I think, a milestone that, or not a monument, I would say monumental, not because it's good, but because it exemplifies the position, would be Luther's commentary on Galatians. Right. And I think, if I remember right, it's been many years, I think E.P. Sanders addressed, he comes from a Lutheran tradition, if I remember. And I remember he talks about the Lutheran and then the subsequent scholarship, German scholarship on Paul. And basically the nodal point with Luther's commentary on Galatians is it reads, he reads as if Paul's writing against Catholics, the Pope, and the Roman Catholicism, and that Paul is like the reformer. Paul plays the role of the 15th century reformer, and the Jews that he's projecting Paul's talking about are the troublers, are the Pope and his huge system. And what E.P. Sanders says, okay, so well, we can notice that what Luther does, Luther's not really reading Galatians here. He's reading he's using Galatians to interpret his own historical situation.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Tell us your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and enable those notifications. And we'll see you in the next video.